Valery Vasilyevich, good afternoon.
Greetings, Comrade Supreme Commander.
Valery Vasilyevich, I know you have information about the latest events in the Kursk direction. What are the results of the combat operations over the past day and the entire previous period?
Comrade Supreme Commander, today it has been liberated from Ukrainian units. The last settlement in the Kursk region, the village of Gornal, has been liberated. In this operation, the units of the 22nd Motorized Rifle Regiment, the 72nd Division, the 810th and 40th Separate Brigades distinguished themselves particularly. The Marine Corps, the 177th Separate Marine Regiment, and the 1427th Motorized Rifle Regiment. Thus, the defeat of the armed formations of the armed forces of Ukraine that invaded the Kursk region has been completed. The plans of the Kiev regime to create a so-called strategic foothold and disrupt our offensive in the Donbass have failed. At the initial stage of the operation, the enemy's advance into our territory was halted, followed by a reduction in the area of penetration. Ukrainian units were forced to switch to defense, subsequently by delivering Akhmat counterattacks from the flanks along the state border by two airborne divisions, the 76th and 106th, as well as the actions of the 155th and UOM 810th Marine Brigades. The main grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine was isolated and subsequently split and destroyed piece by piece. The most active phase of the operation began on March 6th as a result of offensive actions by the units and military formations of the Kursk group simultaneously in all directions, as well as a breakthrough into the enemy's rear by the forces of an underground landing party consisting of a volunteer formation, veterans of the 11th Air Assault Brigade, the 30th Rifle Regiment, and the Special Forces Unit Akhmat, through the pipeline of the gas transport defense system. The armament in Ukraine collapsed. A hasty retreat of Ukrainian units began, and within 5 days, the area of penetration decreased by 2.5 times. The few remaining remnants, Ukrainian elite units, were defeated and driven out of the Kursk region. During the operation, the enemy suffered significant losses. To maintain the strength of their group at around 60,000 people, they were forced to constantly redeploy to the Kursk direction reserves and units from other sectors. The total losses of the Ukrainian armed forces formations amounted to over 76,000 people, military personnel killed. In essence, one entire initial enemy group was eliminated, and even more. Over 7,700 pieces of military equipment have been destroyed, including 412 tanks, 340 infantry fighting vehicles, 314 armored personnel carriers, and about 2,300 other combat armored vehicles. I would like to specifically note the participation of the military personnel from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the liberation of the border areas of the Kursk region, who, in accordance with the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement between our countries, provided significant assistance in defeating the entrenched armed group in Ukraine. The soldiers and officers of the Korean People's Army, carrying out combat missions shoulder to shoulder with Russian military personnel, during the repulsion of the Ukrainian invasion, they demonstrated high professionalism. They showed resilience, courage, and heroism in battle. Comrade Supreme Commander-in-Chief, currently, in the liberated areas of the Kursk region, activities are being conducted to identify individual Ukrainian armed forces soldiers attempting to hide on Russian territory. Forest areas, basements, and abandoned buildings are being checked. Local authorities are being assisted in restoring peaceful life. Engineering units of the North Group and the International Mine Action Center of the Military Engineering Academy are conducting comprehensive demining of the territory and disposal of explosive objects. A total of 19 settlements have been fully checked and cleared. A total of 110 demining groups have been involved in these operations, which is more than 1,000 personnel. In accordance with your instructions, the creation of a security zone in the border areas of the Sumy region continues. Ukraine. 4 settlements have been liberated. The total area of the controlled territory is more than 90 square kilometers. In addition, in the Belgorod region, the North troop grouping units have completed the destruction of Ukrainian sabotage groups in the area of the settlement of Popovka. Search and elimination of individual Ukrainian armed forces soldiers hiding in the border forest belts are being conducted. In other directions, the joint troop grouping forces continues to carry out tasks in accordance with the plan of the special military operation. Report concluded.
Valery Vasilyevich, over the past few months, you have regularly reported on the situation in the Kursk region and highlighted our most effectively operating units. I cannot help but mention them today. Once again, it is the 76th Airborne Division, the 234th Air Assault Regiment of this division, the 237th Air Assault Regiment, and the 104th Air Assault Regiment of this division, the 106th Airborne Division and its 119th Parachute Regiment, the 137th Parachute Regiment, the 51st Parachute Regiment, this is the 56th Air Assault Regiment, 7th Air Assault Division, 2 Akhmat regiments, the 204th Special Purpose Regiment Akhmat, and the 1434th Motorized Rifle Regiment Akhmat, the 22nd Motorized Rifle Regiment, 72nd Division, the 11th Air Assault Brigade, the 83rd Separate Air Assault Brigade. Finally, the Marines, ours, the glorious Marines, the 155th Marine Brigade of the Pacific Fleet, the 8th and 10th Marine Brigade of the Black Sea Fleet, and of course, you just mentioned this, the volunteer formation of veterans who carried out a daring underground assault in the Sudzha area and created conditions for its complete liberation. I congratulate all the personnel of all military units that participated in the defeat of the neo-Nazi formations that invaded Russian territory in the Kursk region. The adventure of the Kiev regime has completely failed, and the enormous losses suffered by the enemy, including among the most combat-ready trained and equipped forces, including those with Western models of equipment by the VSO forces. These are assault units, special forces, will undoubtedly affect the entire line of combat contact. The complete defeat of the enemy in the Kursk border area creates conditions for further successful actions of our troops in other crucial sectors of the front, bringing closer the defeat of the neo-Nazi regime. I congratulate all the personnel, all the soldiers and commanders on this success, on the victory. I thank you for the courage, heroism, and your service to our homeland and the people of Russia,